We're live and now recording.
Thanks, Katie. Can we begin with roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Antonio,
Here.
Mr. Badger,
Here.
Mr. Bleefeld,
Here.
Ms. Kiavachi,
Here.
Mr. Golson,
Here.
Ms. Karianakis,
Here.
Dr. Morris,
Here.
Mr. Walker,
Here.
Mrs. Ginsburg,
Here.
Harrison Ernst,
Here.
Gavin Lewis Richmond,
Here.
and Blake Zimmerman.
Here.
9 present, 0 absent, and 3 student board reps this evening.
Thanks, Katie. All right, now will everybody recite the Pledge of Allegiance with our Bluebell students?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you for your assistance this evening. All right, I want to welcome all of our guests and visitors here this evening for our February 5th regular public board meeting. First, if you look at our agenda, you'll see our prior meetings. We met on January 8th for a regular public board meeting, January 16th for Health, Wellness, and Safety and Board Racial Equity Oversight Committee, and on the 22nd, Facilities and Transportation. And last week, we had our work session. Upcoming meetings. February 20th, we'll have a policy committee meeting, followed by a board racial equity oversight committee meeting. And then the following day, the 21st, we have our finance committee budget workshop. The 26th, we'll have communications, and that precedes our public work session. And then March 4th will be our next regular public board meeting. All right, so that brings us to our presentations for the evening.
Okay, thank you. So first on tap tonight is an impressive lot of students from Bluebell Elementary School. And to introduce everybody and set the table, it's a privilege to welcome the principal of Bluebell, Ms. Angela Farlow.
Good evening, everyone. We are so delighted to be here with you today. As Dr. Crisfield mentioned, I am here with 11 fifth grade students and our art teacher, Mrs. Melanie Pulowski. We have a wonderful presentation about a program that we are very proud of, and we cannot wait to share it with you. It is called Empty Bowl. So I'm going to present everyone to you. First, again, I'm Angela Farlow, and our art teacher is Ms. Melanie Pulowski. She's going to take over soon. Our fifth grade student representatives here, Luke Miller, Raphael Antonio, Hannah Shelton, Harley Kedra, Noel Branch, Saoirse McCurdy, Caroline Stanton, Jordan Renfer, Alyssa Rodemer, Hazel Lee, and Emmy Glazer. We can't wait.
And unfortunately, Andre was not feeling well today, so I will be taking over Andre's part for this evening.
Raphael.
What is Empty Bowls? Empty Bowls is a fundraiser where volunteers paint, make bowls to donate. The community donates food and dinner is held to raise money to fight hunger in local communities.
Students started in 1990 in Michigan. High school art teacher John Hartum challenged his students to throw 120 bowls. Throw in ceramics means shaping clay into a form, bowls in this case. If his students met his challenge, the bowls would be used to fight hunger in their community. Thus, Empty Bowls was created.
Metaphor. At the event, each person picks an empty bowl. When they arrive and fill it up to eat a meal. When everyone leaves, they have an empty bowl again. They bring the empty bowl home, and when people see it, it reminds them that some people might not have eaten a meal like that.
Our amazing art teacher, Mrs. Pulowski, had the idea to teach us about empty bowls because she has done it in the past. Mrs. Pulowski has participated in making bowls. She worked for a ceramic studio where they donated bowls, and she taught her classmates in college, and they donated bowls too. She has also attended multiple Empty Bowls dinners. Mrs. Pulaski also knows what it feels like to not always have first choice of what to eat. As a child, she grew up with single mom who worked hard, but at times it was tough. This event is near and dear to her heart.
Apply for the fifth grade students. Each year, fifth grade students at Bluebell Elementary work together on a community project with the fifth grade committee. This year, Ms. Pulaski joined our team with the Empty Bowls dinner. Plus, we like spending time helping people who need help. We also enjoy painting. It's a win-win. Remember when the whole school from K to fifth grade donated food for the Maddie and Dixon food cupboard during the turkey trot? Well, I do. We all helped, and it was so fun. We're back at it again, but this time the entire fifth grade class is working together. Plus, all of Bluebell's staff will be painting bowls to donate as well. We are so grateful for Mrs. Pulaski and the HSA, and so many more people that are helping us throughout this project.
Maddie and Dixon Food Cupboard. Location, Tampa, PA. Who do they help? Maddie and Dixon Food Cupboard helps people in need. Why do we work with Maddie and Dixon Food Cupboard? Maddie and Dixon help families in our community.
Maddie and Dixon Food Cupboard. In early January, a lady from Maddie and Dixon Food Cupboard came to our school and we had an assembly. She told us about the cupboard and why they do what they do. We wrote down our favorite food and how we feel when we are hungry. We also made cards for the people who come to their food cupboard.
Also at the assembly, she asked us how it feels to be hungry. And these are just some of the things that students wrote down on Post-its and stuck on their posters from each class. Empty, upset, uncomfortable, depressed, sad, nauseous, mad, angry, tired, sick, unfocused, and disappointed. There is a real need for this in our community. It's estimated that just in Montgomery County alone, 80,000 people are experiencing food insecurities every single day. So that's why we were working together with the Maddie and Dixon Food Cupboard and using art as a catalyst to help give back to our community.
When is the Empty Bowls event? Our Empty Bowls event is being held on Friday, April 5th, 2024. It will be at the Bluebell Elementary. This year, we are only having fifth grade families participate at the event. In the future years, Ms. Pulaski hopes to expand the event.
We painted pre-made roads. To paint, we used underglaze. Miss Pulaski let us do what we wanted. Some designs include hearts, checkered patterns, splattered paint, sports themes or teams, and so much more.
How you can help. Any donation is welcome. A donation could be a painted bowl, super bread for the night of the dinner, an item for our silent auction, or a monetary donation to help us raise money to fight hunger in our community. Please email Ms. Pulaski with any questions or comments.
And that concludes our presentation. So thank you so much for all of your attention and your time for letting us present to you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. I just love this concept. This is like awesome. And I was going to ask if you guys could maybe walk some of the bowls around so we could see some of these designs. Were these all made by students that are here?
There are only 2 that are made by students here. I'm currently firing kilns with bowls in them, and Miss Doyle's class was the only class that has gone through the kiln. So Jordan is holding her bowl, the orange bowl right here.
Beautiful.
And Saoirse, who has Saoirse's bowl? Luke. And Saoirse has her bowl. Unfortunately, the rest of them just
Really
aren't
nice.
finished yet.
Beautiful.
Just walk around. Go ahead, show them all. Yeah, walk around.
If you have a ball.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. So at the actual event, do the participants take the bowls home then?
Yeah, so this is a little bit different than a traditional empty bowls event. If you would go to another event hosted at a different location, artists freely donate their artwork and it's up for anybody to pick their piece of artwork.
We decided for our fifth grade students, because it will leave more of an impacting, lasting memory, they are only allowed to pick their bowl and take it home. So even if a student can't attend the event, they still will get their bowl. And that way they'll be able to kind of remember the whole process and everything that we've learned about through everything between the assembly, the classes that we've had, and painting the bowls.
And for the actual April 5th event, you will have people bring donations that will then be taken to the Maddie Dixon cupboard?
Correct. Yep, so there's, I believe it's like a $5 entry fee. And then the bowls, we also have a bunch that are gonna be painted by our staff in the upcoming weeks. If parents choose or family members choose to pick one of those bowls, they can also leave a donation for that bowl to help cover the cost. And we're asking our families and our community to donate bread, utensils, drinks, and soups for the night of the event. So the less money we spend, the more money we can give back to our community.
Great. Well, I just love this. This is amazing. So thank you guys for doing this. Who else has comments or questions? Dan?
Thank you all for coming out and sharing this with us. I think this is such a beautiful project that you guys are working on. Mrs. Pulaski, thank you for bringing it to our community. That is so awesome. Maddie Dixon is a really great community that we're helping out. And this is really near and dear to my heart. Food insecurities is one of my biggest kind of pain points. And I love that we're doing this here. And thank you for all that you're doing. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Comments or questions? All right, well, we do usually like to get a picture. So, oh yeah, let's do a round of applause first. But Steve and Jean, I don't think either of you have had pictures with our students yet. And make sure you hold the bowls in the picture.
Yeah.
Those are beautiful. Thank you again. So I would typically tell you that you can leave at this point, and you're still welcome to. Make sure you take some goodies on your way out, but we do have the Bluebell renovation and addition project up next on our agenda. So you're also welcome to stick around for that. Thank you. Oh, perfect.
Oh, right. Oh,
All right, so we will move on now to our Bluebell Elementary renovation and addition project update.
Good evening, everyone. That's a difficult act to follow. I'll do my best. Want to go through a quick update for the Bluebell project. You're going to see a series of photos that were taken during the project up into the last photo was taken about 3 o'clock this past Friday. So this is the latest and greatest of where we are with our construction project. So on the first slide here, just wanted to give an overview for the board members and the public of where the project schedule lays, particularly an overview of the whole project in general from start to finish. So phase one was started in October and completed in December, and that was the expansion of our bus lot. You'll see some pictures of that in a moment. Phase two is currently underway, and that is the construction of the addition of the building, the creation of new parking lot, and the creation of the new bus loop. Starting as soon as school's done in June, we'll move to the both phase 2B and phase 3. Phase 2 is renovation of a existing classroom to allow the existing car to be tied into the building down in kindergarten wing. And that is right here. And then phase 2B, or I'm sorry, phase 3 is the redesign and work to complete the front parking lot. Now, I've already let Ms. Farlow know that this is going to be a difficult part of the project as we are tight. You'll see in some of the pictures coming up, it's a very tight site to work in. So because we'll have a building being constructed and a parking lot being constructed back here and the parking lot work up here, it's going to be difficult to get to the building as easily as we want to. We'll have to park out in this parking lot and create some other pathways into the building. After that's complete, we'll get our new building will be done in December of 24. We'll start to occupy that in the rear parking lot. We'll be able to use the parking lot in the front, and then we'll start work on the interior, about 10,000 square foot interior in this area here for the interior renovations. So here is some pictures. It's the completed bus lot that was placed in. You can kind of see the difference in the blacktop area from here back to this Trex fence is the addition. Under this parking lot are two large underground basins for rainwater. So I just wanted to point that out, that this is all complete and they're now utilizing this space. Next up, this is the third of the three large underground retention basins. This will actually sit underneath the bus loop. So the buses will come in and go right over top of this with the center island. You can see our bus garage here in the background. And then the picture to the right is an overview, kind of where we are. Just wanted to show you that how tight this construction project is, but yet how efficient we're getting this work done, and how our construction company manager, Dewey Engineering, is really on top of the moving parts that are going through this project. It's really amazing to get over there and see how they're moving from one place to another, and you'll see that in a couple other pictures here. But this is just a general overview. This is taken about a month and a half ago, where they were doing some foundation work up in this part of the building, and then some groundwork. And as you can see, the project kind of moves from the upper left-hand corner down to this lower side of your pictures. This right here will be the area of the new bus loop, and then we'll have our cafeteria, gymnasium, auditorium in this space. And as you can see, we went from that blank page to where we are now. This is considered the B edition. They split the project into B and A. So B is the classroom edition, which would be along the upper end of the kindergarten and the next hallway down. And then you can see the picture to the right is the forms for the foundations and footings for the A edition. And the A is the gymnasium, cafeteria, stage, auditorium area. This was the latest shot. This was from Friday a week ago, just to give you an overall view of where we are currently. I mean, there's more work has been done in the days since this. However, I wanted to point out that the structural steel is up in the B section, along with the first portion of the decking. We have current work being done in this area. This will be the new loading dock area. So they were excavating that when I was there and having the area prepped. During all this work, prior to where we are here, they were working on underground sanitary and underground stormwater. That's all in. Everything is put in prior to any of the steel going up. So that's all getting ready to be tied in back in this area when it's appropriate timing. And then we have, hold a second here. Then we have the pictures I showed earlier of the forming of the forms over here in this area for the A side. You can see they have some of the foundations done around to this point. They'll be doing concrete pours all week to make sure that we stay and remain on time on this project. Some of the other key notes about what's going on currently is in the B area, they're currently working on the underground electrical and plumbing. All that structure is going in now. And in a couple weeks, it'll be very exciting to see this CMU, which is the block going up along the walls. So you're going to start to see some walls on the classroom side, along with pouring the slab underneath, and then getting ready to do the same process over on the gymnasium and auditorium, or I'm sorry, the cafeteria side. So we should start to see, probably in about a month or so, we'll start to see some structural steel going up on that side. So far, the project is on time. As I said earlier, Dewey Engineering is doing a great job with their staff and to keep the project where we are currently. I'm there numerous times a week, and Ms. Farlow and I have become very close in my visits over there. So that's all I have for an update for you guys. So.
Great, thank you. It looks like things are coming along
Yes.
smoothly. And maybe this is better question for Mrs. Farlow, but how are the students handling this ongoing construction? Are they bothered by it at all? Or more interested? Oh, good. Okay. I'm sure they're intrigued by it as well.
Think that the teachers give them little breaks. They actually give the construction workers, they just keep them this, they just say, thank you. They do lots of things to be sure the work is done.
Oh, that's really sweet.
It's very cold, they're out there all the time.
Oh, well, that's really sweet. Yeah, this looks wonderful. I'm glad to see everything is moving along. Anyone else have any comments?
I have a quick question for Brian. Will the A portion be ready to use as classrooms before the B portion, or are we waiting to finish the whole project to open it up?
We'll take the whole, no, it'll all be complete at the same time. We'll take occupancy of everything at the end of December of this year.
So at the end of December
Yeah, December
of this
of
year?
this year, yes.
Okay,
We
so
get
they
that
only
whole
need modular classrooms till like the end of this year, essentially?
Yes.
Okay.
And you mentioned that it's on time. Does that also mean on budget?
I'm sorry.
Does on time also mean on budget?
So far, yes. I was waiting for Mr. Coleman to jump in on that, but yes.
No, I just thought it was funny. I prepped them to say, what? That actually isn't true. We are in good shape. Thank you.
Thank you. Good prep.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing them, thank you again. All right, next we have a budget introduction.
Okay.
You're good to go.
I apologize. I didn't hear the intro. So once a year, we do sort of a results of the audit. I'm Wade Coleman, I'm the business administrator. Sorry for not saying that. The results of the audit. This year, in addition to that, we're going to do sort of a 2-year look back because that information has been accumulated at the state level, and it actually does, to me at least, tell a story, and I think it might tell you a story as well. And then we start talking about the budget season that we're about to embark upon, and a few of the things that are sort of going to be concerns and or things that we're going to have to work through as we're going through the budgets over the next several months. So what's happening tonight? Review the financial results for 22-23. Actually, we're going to look a little bit at 21-22 as well. and the budget. And what happens next is budget meetings, lots of budget meetings, more enrollment capacity and staffing discussions, assumptions about things that we do know and don't know. And then finally, we will approve a budget in the May and June timeframe. So this is the slide that we haven't done for several years, and we decided to do it this year. The Assistant Business Administrator, Lou Kim, put this together, and she did a really, really nice job. Across the top, and the board is going to have this information in their packet, and we will spend additional time on this, probably at the first meeting, to go through some of the more granular items. But from the standpoint of the public, I wanted to make sure that the public had the ability to see this as well. Across the top are our functions, and that's how we spend money. So in the 1100 section, if we hire a teacher, they're coded and included in the 1100. If we hire a special education teacher, it would be in the second column, and that would be special education. And going across, you have all the various functions that we've highlighted. Then there's a break, and the next column is expenses per pupil. And that is the aggregate of all of our expenses compared to the aggregate of all of the other districts in the county on a per pupil basis. And then the last figure is millage. So again, first column would be, if you look at the 5, that means that our per pupil spending on an audited basis for 21-22 is 5th out of the 21 districts. For the 1200 function, which is special education, we are also 5th out of 21 districts in spending on a per pupil basis. If you look at the last column or the second to last column, which I said is just after the break, what you're going to see is that approximately $22,816 is what we spend on a per pupil basis compared to everybody else in the county, and that's 10th out of the 21 other districts. So to me, sort of as a financial, but also sort of like if you look at this as a medical checkup, to me, that's a very, very good place to be. So we're 10th out of 21 districts. And I think that there's a very, very strong belief system that shows in these numbers where we're 5th in where we spend our money in education and in special education. And then if you go through several of those other areas in the administrative categories, we're maybe 15th, 16th, 17th, and 19th, et cetera. But many of those bands in the separate sections, I think we can be very, very proud of that we're doing in a very efficient manner. So how can you spend 5th in the 2 biggest categories? The first 2 categories are approximately 60 to 66% of all of our dollars. So if those 2 are 5th and the overall is 10th, it's coming down through administrative areas, which is, again, a good way to be. The other things that are being brought down are, we've had discussions at the board level. In the 5100, you have debt service. We're 19th out of 21. We historically have had very, very little debt. And because of some of the things that we were able to do financially, we've completed Stony Creek, and we only borrowed $10 million out of the over $20 million project. So again, when you do that, we're paying for things currently with some time in cash, which is, again, a wonderful place to be and one of the things that helps us keep our AAA bond rating. The last column, on a millage rate basis, I think the board is aware, and the public may or may not be aware, but we're 20th lowest out of the 21 districts in Montgomery County for millage rate. So if you have a $200,000 house, theoretically compared to a $200,000 house in another district, assessed value wise, so 19 other districts are paying more for taxes every year, and only 1 is spending less for taxes in that comparative assessed valuation. So again, very low taxes, medium overall spending, and our spending where we do spend a lot of our money is in places where I think we can be proud, low class sizes, and a strong educational program for special education and regular ed. So that sort of sets the table to me. That's audited results on a per pupil basis, us comparing to other districts, sort of sets the table for where we're going to be going over the next several months in budget presentations.
Hey, Wade, a
Sure.
quick question. What is row 11? Is that highlighted for a reason?
Just average.
Oh, that's the average.
Just the in between.
Okay, got it.
10 above, 10 below. Thank you for
Okay.
asking that.
Got it. Thanks.
For 21-22 and 22-23, we've updated these. Last year it was 2021 versus 2022. So we move it over a column and you'll see that as a trend for each of these. So 22-23 is the new column. We had $121 million worth of revenue, $120 million worth of total expenses. So we had a positive increase to general fund balance of $1 million. The previous year we had an increase to $1.5 million. In both the years, again, another big positive was we were in both years able to transfer $3.9 million to capital projects, which is very, very important as we've had discussions at the board level. Many of our buildings are old, and we're going to talk about that in the back. In the context of what increased, $2.4 million of local revenue, 1.8 of state revenue, and federal revenue of 0.2. It sort of mirrors also where the money comes from and the total magnitude of the dollars, as we'll see in the next slide. Local revenue is tax increase, earned income taxes, and interest on investments. Very positive on the interest investments. State revenue was $1.8 million from PSERS, which is the retirement system, and we did get a nice increase in basic ed. Federal, we don't get much money, but it was a 0.2 increase from COVID grant funding. In terms of the magnitude, again, it's important to sort of have as a big picture, understand where most of our money comes for Wissahickon. Different districts obviously have different prorations. We're very fortunate to be a wealthy district, and as a wealthy district, our local revenue is 80% of our overall funding. State revenue is 19%, federal is 1.3. If you were a district that was less wealthy, that split between state and local would be very, very different. In terms of the magnitude of where the money goes, I think, again, it's important to understand we are a service organization. Our organization's job is to educate children, and you do that with teachers. And, you know, we have various people supporting teachers, but it's about people. And 50% is salary, 34 or something percent is benefits. The total of 80% of our budget is salary and benefits. So when we go through the budget meetings and we talk about, you know, what we're doing and what can we do, it's about salaries, salaries, and salaries. If you remember that first chart that I had, 66% of our money is in the 1100 and the 1200 function. Then 80% of our money is in salary and benefits. So if you put those two together, what do you get? Most of our money is going in salary and benefits in the 11 and 12, in the regular ed and the special education functions. That's where the money is. That's where you know, the focus needs to be, as it should be in a school district. The various other categories you can see in the background, you know, are various slivers of our remaining pieces of the budget. Challenges and opportunities. The board, again, is very aware of this. We've talked about it, and we've had some of these come across the board already. Assessment appeals and commercial property. So with COVID and with people staying home, working from home as opposed to going into offices, the vacancy rates in the industrial or commercial buildings has gone way, way down. So occupancy is down. That means that the properties are less valuable, and then they therefore line up day after day after day to me saying, hey, I want a reduction. So then we go through a process where we can either get an assessment and try to fight them or settle or whatever, but that is an ongoing and large part of what is going to be happening on the business revenue side over probably the next 12 months at least. We currently have 17 properties on appeal, and the board recently approved $400,000 refunds to various properties. And sadly, in the parentheses, it's the beginning, not the end of that story. So we have had reserves. We have created reserves to offset some of these losses in the future. But frankly, more of these are showing up every single day, and they're new properties, and they're very likely not going to be winners. You know, they have a very good story to tell either the courts or judge or whomever, and that is we used to have occupancy of 90%, and now we're at 50% or some number even lower than that. So that's going to be an ongoing story and a challenge going forward. We've had number 2 for a while, and we're starting to sort of see some positive going out of that, but continues to be challenging. Another 2% increase to 5,168 versus 5,064. 2% isn't all that much, but it certainly is the continuing trend. We showed a chart in last year's budget meetings where we had been about 4,000 students for many years in Wissahickon, and now we're 5,000, and now we're keep continuing to grow. What has that caused? We've needed additions at Stony Creek. We've needed additions at Bluebell. We've already created capacity at the middle school. And again, we're staying in front of it, but truthfully just barely. And it certainly has been a challenge from the standpoint of the finances going forward. D is just a statement of where we are. At the average building age is over 50 years other than Lower Gwynedd. I looked it up today, just the basis for Bluebell was built in 1955. It's almost 70 years old, and that's not really all that different than some of the other ages of our buildings. So on the one hand, we've built buildings well. Many of our buildings have terrazzo floors, solid foundations, and we have requested in the past to the board to support us in putting in new roofs and the things that we need to do to make sure that these buildings continue. But just like an older house compared to a new house, you spend more money keeping it going. So if we build a brand new building tomorrow, the maintenance would be very, very low for a long period of time. We're sort of in the opposite situation, which is 70-year-old building needs lots and lots of attention. Positives, a couple just, accenting again. This is the chart talking about where we are from the standpoint of millage. It's a great place to be. We're second lowest at 22.45 compared to the other districts. The average being about 33 in the county. Obviously, you want to be where we are. Budget timeline going forward. We have a meeting on February 21st, the 12th, March 12th, April 16th, and May 13th. Going forward, again, they may change a little bit here and there, but that's generally our time frame. I'd be happy to take questions. I think I actually missed a slide. The one, maybe we deleted it somehow, but there is a slide that talks about some of the other positives. And some of the other positives, and I sort of mentioned it when we were talking about the presentation, but the district's in a very, very good position from the standpoint that we have transferred a lot of money to capital. So we do have older buildings, but we have approximately $19 million or so in capital to accomplish many of the projects that we want to. We are AAA rated, and we have accomplished some of the projects that we've needed to over the past. So now we'll go to questions.
Thanks, Wade. I have a couple of comments and questions. Thank you for this primer. It's always really, really helpful. In fact, I attended the MCIU session last week, and I thought Hannah was fantastic in presenting a lot of that information. If you guys didn't attend, Katie sent us the slides, although her narrative really helped a great deal. Like, she was fantastic in kind of understanding the ins and outs of school budgets. I know we don't have a crystal ball, but kind of if there's a way to kind of think about what our risk is in how many more businesses we think may or would be at jeopardy of coming forward, just to see like how much more local revenues at risk might be helpful, because this local revenue line is 80% of our budget, right? That's what you said. So I'm concerned with how many more are coming forward. Again, I get we don't have a crystal ball, but just kind of what can we do to kind of mitigate that risk would be helpful. On the other side, those slides in the very beginning showing kind of our fiscal responsibility and our fiscal kind of durability are wonderful messages. I know we do the millage graph in our yearly newsletter that goes out to the community, maybe an infographic or something that kind of like summarizes some of these really really important pieces that we've been working really, really, really hard as an administration and as a school board to keep our fiscal responsibility so high would be a good reminder for our community. Thank you, Wade. I look forward to our fun finance
thank you very
meetings
much.
coming up.
Just to add on to that, I know that other board members know when I came on the board, I asked for some prior information and just making it obvious that not only the ability of the district to keep the millage rate at about a 2% increase over the last 10 years for people who are fortunate enough to own a home in the district, those values have gone up in the same time period by 4% per year. So your investment in the district is a good one from that standpoint, while also managing. Dr. Dewan showed the school assessment test results, et cetera, graduation rates show the performance of the district also with that investment.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Comments or questions?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Wade. I would just encourage members of the public to attend these budget workshops. We really get in depth into our budget and you learn a lot about where our district money is spent. So please join us for those meetings. All right, so next up, all right, our first public comment period. And I'll note that we allow maximum 5 speakers on any particular topic. For this first one, it's just agenda items only. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. Note that it's not the board's practice to engage in dialogue. When appropriate, we will post responses online. And we're using the buzzer again, right? Okay, so the buzzer, we'll make sure we stay at 3 minutes. And we have nobody registered in person for the first. Anyone online? No one online. All right, then we'll just jump into the next item, the board president report. So this is the item we've been discussing for a few years now. We're going to be actually voting on whether to adjust the Wissahickon high school start time to 8:30 and the start times of the other district schools to be determined beginning in the 24-25 school year. And the reason we have to be determined is that it would really depend for especially the middle school, whether we go with triple or double tier busing. And that will be a second vote that we do depending on how the first vote goes. So I'm sure some board members do have comments they want to make. I know we've been discussing this for quite some time. Zeffie, you had a comment?
I did, thanks. So school start times has been something that has been of interest to me for the last 6 or so years. I've learned a lot about this topic and I wholeheartedly believe that we should not be starting our secondary schools at 7:20 a.m. I appreciate the effort that was done here by everyone on this topic. The logistics and the operations of this change are complex, and in my opinion, here at Wissahickon, we're not fully resolved. I participate on the school later time meetings that are held here in PA, and coincidentally, there was one today. It was amazing to hear from 2 more superintendents in school districts, OJR and Downington, that are making this change next year. In fact, there were superintendents present on the call from Radnor, Pennsbury, Susquehanna, sorry, I can't pronounce all of them, Lower Merion, Feta, that were on the call who were either there to support this change or are looking to make this change in their respective school districts. Both Dr. Stout and Dr. O'Donnell both shared that they learned from the process. Both of them came from State College. So they saw this process firsthand at State College and then moved over to OJR in Downington and are making this change there because that's how passionate they were about it. They shared the same concerns that we all heard: transportation, athletics, extracurricular, change of parent schedules, after school employment, all the things that we heard and were real obstacles. What they did is they found compromises for many of the obstacles, not all of them, but many. Things that they did was decrease homework time at the secondary level, decrease athletic time at the secondary level. The goal for all of them was not to push an hour back for everyone, including all the other things, but to actually give the students that time to rest, because that is the goal. Additionally, both OJR and Downington did not get to an 8:30 a.m. start time. They got to there were two different ones. One was 8:05 and the other one was 8:15 or something of that like. But what they did learn was both the Gessinger organization and the Penn Adolescent Sleep organization supported that even a 30-minute change to adolescent sleep time would have a lasting positive impact, and we're for it. As I've mentioned on previous school board meetings, the 189/900 hour ruling has come into effect. Shapiro has passed that, so that will give us more flexibility as a school district to play around with schedules. I also am happy to see that Bill HB 1848 has gained additional momentum. When I brought this to the board, there was only 4 people supporting this bill. Now we have 6 or 7, including Missy, which I'm over the moon about. And what they're trying to do with this is change the Public School Code 1949. So we still are practicing under a 1949 regulation. And with this, it would make every single PA secondary school start no sooner or no earlier than 8:15 a.m. This change is to be in effect by 2026. More and more schools are making this change nationally. We know California has done it. Florida is doing it next year, as well as several others. But we're also seeing it here locally in PA. Although I strongly feel that we should be changing the school start times here in Wissahickon, we have not found a way to resolve the barriers that we've uncovered. That being said, I will continue to participate at the later school start advocacy efforts that the state has. I will also go to Harrisburg and champion this because I feel that passionate about it. I will vote yes out of principle that we should change the school start time, but I don't think we're going to get enough people to say yes. But I do want to thank everybody for their time, their effort, and giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts on this topic. Thanks.
Thank you, Zephy. Does anyone else want to make any comments or have any questions? Ian?
Yeah, Zephy, you could have taken the words right out of my mouth. I feel very similarly to you. I've mentioned this before, and I've also mentioned that I too agree that there weren't the compromises needed to make this work in this district. And some of it was logistical. We have a much larger district land-wise than some people do, and busing was a real problem. I mean, we can't have tech students eating lunch on a school bus. That's not a solution. So, you know, there's just too many things, and I'm sad. But I vote third to last, and I will also vote yes out of principle, knowing that I believe this will fail.
All right, thank you both. Anyone else? All right, then do I have a motion?
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any further comments or questions? Okay, let's do a roll call.
You got it. Mr. Antonio,
No.
Mr. Badger, Mr. Badger. If I can unmute him. I'll give him a minute and I'll come back to him. Mr. Bleefeld? Ms. Kiavachi?
No, but I also want to say I'll continue to work on bringing some resolution to it for a few more years from now.
Mr. Golson?
No.
Ms. Karianikis?
Yes. If there was like squatty potties here too, we don't have those.
Dr. Morris?
Yes, and I'm representing the part of the community that felt passionately about this change.
Mr. Walker,
No.
Mr. Badger,
No.
Mrs. Ginsburg.
I'm also voting no, but I would note that, like Mrs. Kivachi, I will also be continuing efforts to try to change this at a different level. Thank you.
So the motion is 7 no and 2 yes.
Thank you. All right, moving on. And I just want to acknowledge also the work the district has put into this project. I'm disappointed as well that it did not end up working out. It is something that a number of us were very passionate about. I think many of us actually were very passionate about this, and put work into this. And, you know, hopefully changes will be made at the state level and we'll see this change in the future. But moving on to the superintendent report.
Thank you. I have no informational items or action items this evening.
Assistant Superintendent report?
Yes, thank you. I have one informational item this evening. We want to invite the community to join us for our upcoming community conversations on Tuesday, February 27th at 6 p.m. It'll be held at the Wissahickon Valley Public Library. This event is going to focus on supporting transgender and gender non-binary students, and it will be structured as a learning and listening session for parents and guardians of all students to come out and join us. There's going to be a brief informational presentation followed by small group conversations. The purpose of this listening and learning session is to create a welcoming and belonging space for all parents and guardians to come out and learn, share their experiences, and support one another. The small group listening circles are going to be designed to help promote empathy and dismantle stereotypes. So we hope that you'll be interested in joining us. If you are, please be sure to register. Registration closes Thursday, February 22nd. Information is on our website and was also pushed out to the community recently. So thank you. That's all I have this evening.
Question?
Yes, go ahead, Joe.
When it says that it's for parents and guardians. My daughter, who's a fairly recent alum, was interested in participating. Would she be welcome to attend, or she's not technically a parent or a guardian?
The session is designed for the parents and guardians and caregivers in the community. Should she sign up to register and there were to be any concern, someone would reach out to her. We don't want to turn anyone away, but we also want to be clear about who the targeted audience is for the session. And perhaps in the future, there would be opportunities for us to extend to students in the community or recent alum, but we certainly don't want to turn anyone away, but we also want to be clear about who the intended audience is, if that makes sense.
Would it make a difference if she was actually only going because my wife wanted her to come with her?
Oh my God. We certainly would not want to turn anyone away.
Understood. Thank you.
I just am excited for these listening sessions. I've registered and I'm looking forward to them. I also saw that another one got pushed out about special education. So I love that we're doing more of these community-based listening sessions. I know they take a lot of work, but I do feel that it is a wonderful bridge for our community. So I'm very excited to see these happening. Thank you.
I just had a quick question. Who, like from the district, is like supporting the event, or how did this come to be essentially?
Thank you for the question. So this session specifically will be hosted by Dr. Graciela Slezarensky-Poe, who is the Arcadia professor who had joined us for the recent professional learning opportunity for our in-service day. She's also previously joined us for a learning session for our administrators earlier in the fall. So this is sort of the next phase of that, which is engaging our community in the same topic. I'll be there. Ms. Latour will be there. I know we have some board members who plan to join us and other administrators and staff. So it'll certainly be well represented by employees in the district. And we hope that we'll have some families come out who are interested in promoting empathy and dismantling stereotypes in support of our students who are transgender and gender nonconforming.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I also, if I may, thank you, Zephy, for mentioning the Special Education Parent Advisory Council meeting. We did push information out about that first large group CPAC meeting, which will be in, and I'm trying to quickly find out. Sorry. Thank you. It's going to be on February 22nd here at Central Office in the boardroom at 6 p.m. on Thursday, February 22nd. So thank you for bringing that up. We did just push that information out. Yes, it did today. Yes, thank you. Any other comments or questions? All right, then we'll move on to board solicitor report. Michelle?
Thank you. No informational items and no action items for this evening.
Thank you. We'll move on to board secretary report.
Thank you. We present for approval the action items 11.1 through 3, and they have been, there have been no changes since the last meeting.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And board treasurer report?
Thank you. We're requesting approval of action items 12.1, and there has been no change since the last meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Human Resources report, Danielle.
All right, good evening. Changes from last week's agenda are marked with an asterisk and can be found in bold in the details. These include an appointment and volunteer additions. 13.8 was also added. This is an addendum to our contract with our subservice partner STS for assistant sub rates. All of their items were reviewed at last week's work session, and I have no other changes. This evening, I'm seeking approval for action items 13.1 through 13.8.
So moved.
A motion's been made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Sorry, Paul. Anyone? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Communications report.
I have no updates for this evening.
All right, thank you. Curriculum and technology.
We have no new informational or action items. We are only seeking approval for the items that we reviewed last week, 15.1 through 15.3. Excuse me. I'm learning.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll wait for Paul.
Aye. Thank you.
Or anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Facilities and transportation, Joe?
There are no informational items this evening, and we have one action item up for approval. It's one that we discussed last week. It's regarding the WCAC proposal to provide lifeguards for their own programs, pending insurance coverage and indemnification. So I'm seeking a motion for approval of action item 16.1.
Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, Finance Committee report.
Yeah, there are no changes from the items reviewed last week, and so we're seeking approval from the board of items 17.1 through 17.3.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Policy Committee report, Marshall.
Thank you. We have no informational or action items this evening.
Thank you. Racial Equity Oversight, Paul.
We have no items this evening.
Thank you. Health, Wellness and Safety, Rosetta.
No action items or informational items this evening.
Thank you. Extracurricular Committee, Marshall.
There's nothing new to add since my update last time.
All right, thank you. Same for me. I have nothing additional since our last meeting for MCIU. North Monco.
Nope, nothing new from last week.
Okay, PSBA.
No new news.
Employee relations.
No new news.
Great. That brings us then to I didn't miss anybody, right? I think I got them all. Yes. Okay. Second public comment period. As I stated for the first one, we allow a maximum of 5 speakers on any particular topic. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. We do have the buzzer. And note that's not a practice to engage in dialogue with speakers. When appropriate, we will follow up with a response online. All right, so when you approach the podium, please state your name and your municipality of residence and the topic on which you're speaking. In person, we have one person registered, Mark Giordano.
Good evening. I'm Mark Giordano. I have a son in the middle school. I had a couple questions about the social agenda, which was brought up by the assistant superintendent earlier. One of them was, there were some emails sent out recently regarding the social agenda. One was from the DEI coordinator. Another one was from the email you sent about the transgender non-binary student symposium or lesson. My question was, do the students also partake in these lessons, whether it's stuff to do with DEI or with transgender or non-binary lessons? Like, is that being brought on to the student? I emailed my son's teacher twice, ignored. I emailed DEI coordinator twice, ignored. I emailed the principal at the middle school twice, ignored. So my other question is that instruction from up top somewhere saying any kind of social agenda questions to be ignored from the parents? I mean, that's 6 emails, 0 responses, because my social agenda is probably not the same as your social agenda. And I don't want my kid exposed to things that I don't agree with. So what I'm asking is, can you please, if you're going to have some kind of social agenda thing with non-binary, transgender, DEI stuff, if you can notify parents first, if the students are going to be exposed to that? That's my first question. Can we get a heads up? My second question is, can someone please respond to me? My child goes to the school. I live here. I'm a taxpayer. 6 emails, no response. So is that coming from somebody to not respond to social agenda questions? Is that coming from somewhere above the principal or above the teacher or above the DI coordinator? Why would they be ignored?
So we don't respond to questions at this point, but we'll put you in touch with someone to answer those questions. And typically, again, online, we will post responses. So take a look online for the Q&A section.
No one's going to answer my question.
Okay, this is not our practice to do that during the meetings. And, if we do it for you, then we have to answer everybody's questions when they come up. But online, we do post answers. And again, I'll put Dr. Juwan, yes, it'll be answered.
Both will be answered? Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Oh, my other question, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'll be fast. If my son doesn't want to participate in these social agenda lessons, assemblies, guest speakers, whatever it may be, can he just opt out and not attend?
And Dr. Crispell can answer
That'd be
that for
great.
you as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Have a nice night.
thank you. Katie, is there anyone registered online?
No raised hands on Zoom.
Okay, then we will move on to board comments. Does any board member have a comment?
So I just wanted to ask our high school folks here, Dr. Blair returned. How excited is everyone? And I know you guys met with her, so how are things going? I know it's only a week, but just wanted to hear.
So I wasn't here on Friday, sadly, when she came in. But the camarada sang to her when she, when she came in, and I heard from Mr. Conahan that she shed happy tears. So I'm glad that at least we were able to give that to her when she came back. Yeah.
When I came into school on Friday, she was standing by the auditorium doors greeting all the kids. So that was really nice. She has like she's walking around with her cart now that says like, I am Dr. Blair since almost all the freshmen and sophomores have never seen her in the high school before. So I feel for her that she needs to, meet all these new people, but she's doing a great job. The administration that had to take over her place and her role did an amazing job. Dr. Haney, Mr. Kelly, the new assistant principal, Mr. Brooks, they're all amazing. So they did all an amazing job. We are so glad though to have Dr. Blair back. She's awesome to have in the school. So we're so excited. We're very glad.
Anyone else? Comments or questions? Joe?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Wissahickons Asian Cultural Committee. which hosted its second annual Lunar New Year Festival or celebration, which was held this year at the middle school cafeteria. And the free event had home cooked traditional foods, cultural music, and dance performances. And it was a great turnout. The cafeteria was packed, probably, I don't know, a couple hundred people or so. I saw a lot of parents and students, staff members. So yeah, it was a really great time, and glad to see the Asian cultures highlighted in such an event. So it was a good time. And again, shout out to the Wissahickon students who primarily organized the whole thing.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, then do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Oh, sorry.